Welcome to Babblecom 5.
Hello there. So, I'm going to try something a little bit different for this episode, and I'm going to do a watch through with you, hopefully. The aim is that I will give you a lead in, and then I'm going to hit play on the first scene from my DVD, and that should get us synced up, and then I just watch straight the way through with you. I'll do commentary off the cuff as I go. I will try not to I won't spoil it in advance, but I am assuming that you have now watched the entire series of Babylon 5, because this is season 5, episode 22 of Babylon 5, Sleeping in Light. So, the first time I've tried doing this, but touch wood, I can do this and then Warner Brothers won't shout at me, so it'll all be good. But I'm also going to do a more traditional version of it, as I normally do, and do the sort of slideshow routine, and do perhaps one of my more written commentaries off the back of that at the same time, like I normally do. So I'm going to attempt it now, so stand by. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. It's just spooling up now. Lots of shiny white stars. 2261 and mini white stars as well. 20 years on from the last time we saw the characters. Getting a flashback to Lorien and Sheridan and Zahadum, telling him to step into the abyss and let go. Hope is all we have, says Lorien. So basically, John had 20 years of life left to him after Lorien revived him last, and we're now at the point where he's run out of that life. Still flashing back to that episode, and others where Lorien told Delenn about how long he had left. John's just woken up and he's kind of realising that he knows what the day is and how that he's getting close. Garibaldi voices a little prologue. So it's Delenn. He's woken Delenn up because he's going out to get some air. They're both on Minbar. She knows. Looks like Sheridan is now Ranger 1. He's wearing the Ranger 1 outfit. With the cloak, the hooded cloak. A bit like Sinclair, actually. And a Ranger brooch. And Len's come to join him on the balcony. Lovely couple, bless them. Little conversation about air molecules. Sheridan's talking about watching the sun come up. He's never done it in the whole time he's been there. since it isn't the first time he's had the dream. Third night in a row. He knows that he knows what it means. So does she, really, but she doesn't want to think it. And holds him tighter. He knows he's coming towards the end. He asks her to send the messages, then the sun comes up. He's obviously prepared for this moment because he's known it's been coming for a long time. It's beautiful, nice scene. Look who's back. It's Ivanova, of course. And she's a general now. Oh, and a ranger's just made a forced entry into her office. So she's been given the message. And she's on her way. Centauri Prime. And Emperor Veer is also getting a message from a ranger. Whilst in bed with two ladies. So hopefully he's getting beyond first base this time, or first tentacle. Veer doesn't even read the notes because he already knows what it's going to say. Now we're on to Garibaldi. Apparently corporate life has treated him well. Apparently Dodgers are not doing well so well though. And here's Stephen, Uncle Stephen. So Garibaldi's obviously had a daughter. Apparently Garibaldi plays tennis these days, as does Stephen. So we're near the anniversary of Mars' independence, it would appear. It's like Franklin's still the head of xenobiological research on Earth. Now a ranger arrives to Garibaldi. Apparently there was a slight question mark in Stephen's mind as to whether Garibaldi would want to go, but Garibaldi tells him to book tickets for 2, so John's catching a sunrise again. Or possibly the same one, actually. Stephen can't really give him an accurate reading on how long he's got, but he thinks 4 to 5 days, maybe a week. He can't do anything more. I think even now he still doesn't understand exactly what was done to him. They've all got greyed up hair. Apart from Garibaldi, of course, he still has no hair. So Glenn's not in the Grey Council at this point. He's saying her past training should help her with what's going on now. It's strange to be watching the entire episode without typing at the same time. Children wants a celebration, not sad partings. I think Delenn would prefer just to have the time with him herself in many respects, but There's 6 of them at the table. Veer's talking about Londo. But there's Garibaldi, Stephen, Veer, Ivanova, Delenn, John. They're saying that they once heard the Pakmaras sing, but they very rarely do it. But it was really, really beautiful. And they've just been discussing them throwing up all over John. Veer says Londo actually had a tear running down his face. The music's really nice in the background. "49 gods in the pantheon of the Centauri." But he says if just one exists that sings with that voice, then that's okay. This is after everything they've been through, he still misses him. This is after War Without End, of course. Shona makes a toast to absent friends in memory still bright. Jakar, Londo, Linnea, Marcus. And Marcus is said by Ivanova just before Stephen manages to say it. Perhaps he was going to say it because it would have been too hard for her. And that would suggest that Linnea is got his past as well, which, of course, up until this point he wouldn't have known. So, however he tried to resolve his problem, he hasn't made it to this point. Then things quieten down a bit. Ivanova leaves the others and Delenn goes after her. Then tells Susan that she's going to miss him terribly, but they have had 20 years to get ready for this point. I think Susan's lost her way. She's seen so many people pass. She's not sure what she's doing now. The son David is away on ranger training, and he can't break away from that. He wants David to remember him as he was. So 2 years ago, John decided not to be re-elected to the presidency, and Delenn took it instead. Delenn's offering Susan the role of head of the Rangers. They give her a chance to break away from her responsibilities as a general on Earth and build something new. Susan asks for time to think about it. They embrace and she heads off to bed. The others are putting Veer to bed, apparently. He's also developed Londo's knack for the drink, I think. Minbar is looking very beautiful, as ever. Jordan can't sleep. He's saying that tomorrow is Sunday on Earth and that on every Sunday his dad used to take him out for a drive. They never knew where they were going. John says tomorrow he's going to go out for a drive. And Delenn understands what he means. Turns away from him. He wants to feel space beneath him one more time.
Although it seems a bit selfish of him to be doing this to her, he's also thinking about her because he's saying that the alliance has become part mythological in nature, so if it ends out there it'll be easier for her because it'll just be part of the mythology. It'll help her keep them all in check. says, but tomorrow they won't discuss it. They're just going to keep things happy. That's what he wants. And the sun's coming up again on Minbar. And he's back in his old station uniform. Not the EA one, of course. The breakaway one. Lynn's dressed all in white. Lynn says she's been told by a reliable source that it's a Sunday and that on earth you dress up on a Sunday. So she has. She says it's the perfect day for a Sunday drive. They embrace for the last time. So they say their goodbyes and he leaves before the others wake up. Back to the station, there's an Omega class parked outside the Talos. And the jump gate activates. In comes the White Star shuttle. It's very, very quiet. And back comes Sheridan. So the last commander on the station calls it redundant because the Alliance is now doing what it used to do, and there have been budget cuts and everything else, so they're shutting the place down. It says the station, they're still tied together even now. Because they're going to have to take it out to stop it being a menace to navigation. It's a strange thing. It's just empty. Because he's hearing the echoes of what used to happen there. But those days are past. Apart from one, apparently. Zach. He again says he thinks he'll be there until they turn the lights out, which is what he said at the end of season 5. He's been away, but he's come back. It's been operational 25 years. He echoes what Jakar said about it, that, there's echoes of people still here, layers and layers of them. He's walking with a limp these days. Zach asks if he's there for the decommissioning ceremony. He says he was just passing by. He sees a little flash of Lorien again and thinks he knows his time's very nearly up now. He's going back to Coriolis where they won the Shadow War. Heading back to Coriolis 6. The little shuttle looks very much like a shrunk down white star, but it's got slightly different interface systems and things. It's running autopilot effectively. Shows near asleep in the pilot seat when they arrived near to hyperspace. He tells the computer to jump to normal space. And received a in bed. A very empty bed. And the shuttle is just station keeping. And Sheridan's fading. Then John tells the computer to shut everything down. It's too much noise. It's just him in the darkness. His eyes shut and something starts to light up his face. Who are you? What do you want? Why are you here? Where are you going? Says Lorien as he appears next to him. He hasn't been forgotten. They've been waiting for him beyond the rim. Lorien says he can't come back. But another journey is beginning. It's time to rest. And a very, very bright light fills the bridge. The sun's coming up, says John. One of us says his ship was found, but there was no trace of him inside. All the airlocks were sealed. She never saw him again. She's leaving the others on the station as it's shut down. Veer gives us a little goodbye wave like he did to Morden. Zach puts his arm around Delenn and takes her out. Stephen goes next. Gabriel takes one last look around. Picks a little tumbler glass off a shelf and then joins them all in the lift. And finally, one Joe Michael Straczynski, Esquire, turns out the lights. And that's the end of the beginning. And ships from all the races line the way for that shuttle as it leaves the last ship to go from the station. Finally, the station ends in fire. But the station changed the future and it changed them. You have to create the future, otherwise others will do it for you. Very true. Looks like Zach's now
ranger and helping Veer. One of says most of all it gave them hope that there can always be new beginnings, even for people like them. She says that for as long as she lived, Glenn got up before the sun came up and watched it come up. We see Sheridan next to her, even though he isn't. And she reaches towards the sun on Mint Bar like she did when he left. And they submit an ISN special documentary. And then white stars go zooming over the heads of the production crew. I've forgotten this. And the end credits are everyone as they were in the very early days in season 1, as against how they looked in Sleeping in Light, or the last episode they were in, for those who have passed. Well, it did get me in the feels at times, it really did, I have to say. I don't know, maybe not more this time than when I first watched it, but it's still really powerful. Because they all went on a journey together over a number of years. I'm just listening to the end music. Now, interestingly, it said production number 523, which of course is impossible. But Sleeping in Light was actually filmed at the end of season 4 because they thought that they might need it at the end of season 4 for obvious reasons. So that is why Claudia Christian is still there as Ivanova, because of course at the end of season 4 she was still part of the show. And it's nice that she is there in that final episode because, she was there for 4 years, a big chunk of her life. So, I think important that her character was there, and lovely that her character ends up being Range 1 at the end of the episode. How do I feel? Yeah, it is a very unusual show, and I've always felt very close to it, in part because of the show, but also because for me personally, it led to me going to my sort of first conventions, and meeting like-minded people, I suppose, for the first time, because when you grow up in a small place as I did, at that point in time there was no internet for me, and until I got to university and the internet was there, it was only really then that I really started to fully appreciate that, it wasn't just me who liked things like Star Trek and Babylon 5, it was lots of people. And so, that was my sort of first opportunity really to get out into a wider world, if you like, find community through these shows, which is important. For some people it's football matches, people like me, it's fan conventions and things of this nature. So it's got a very special place in my own personal history, which is why I've chosen to spend so much time over the last couple of years running through this. And I've also been running through it to give myself, I suppose, a renewed sense of who I am now that I'm a singleton again, and just sort of finding a way to ground myself, I've still got more to do. I think I should do Crusade, Lost Tales. Might even do Legend of the Rangers, but I'm going to have to get the more complete box set than I have, because at the moment I'm still reliant on my ancient DVDs, including the set that, as it turned out, let me down slightly, which I had not anticipated. So, as I've said before, I will take a little break now, because we're getting towards Christmas time in 2022, and it's going to get busy, as it always does. And so I think next year I'll start looking at what else I could do. And if you'd like to suggest some things I could do, then by all means go for it. I don't know if I do them like this every time. Having just watched that through and done this, I'm actually not sure now whether I would do a normal synopsis with reaction approach to it as I have done in the past, because I don't know. It's not as if it's the end of the plot, but it's a lot more than that as well. It's the end of the journey. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll probably do both, because I am a completist. I probably can't not do what I've been doing for the past 2 years one more time, I suppose. And I've got a couple of movies left to do as well, of course. So, yeah. Perhaps I'll try and do those before the end of the year as well, just to round off the entire sort of original run. That would probably make a lot of sense, I think. So, thank you for watching it with me, if that's what you've been up to. I believe JMS has also done this, and there is a JMS commentary on Sleeping in Light on the DVD. So, whilst I know that HBO have been, re-showing the series, you shouldn't necessarily discard the DVDs as a potential source of watching the show, because they do have the extras on them that were done, a little bit after the show. But it's still nice to have those extras on the DVDs, I think. So, without having needed a tissue, but having been somewhat moved, I will leave it there. And I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've been following me along at all at my sort of pace, and I hope that should you have just completed maybe even a first watch through yourself, that you've been able to get to this point without being spoiled for this episode. Cheers for now.